Before we start today's video, I'd like to say that everything, legally, of course, that everything in this video is allegations. That will be the last bit of respect the company, or I guess the CEO, will be getting from me in this video, because I would say I respect the people who work there, but they're not people. He replaced all of his good people with AI, clankers, malware, and broken software that shuts down every 2 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Toll Warden, and I have a problem with Duolingo. That's right, I'm probably not the only one either. In today's video, I will be addressing the major problems I have with the app, the service, and the company itself, as well as the current, shall we put it, direction they're going in. I have a lot of problems with it, but I'm going to go over the key ones because this video is probably going to be long as is. See, let me give you a bit of background while I'm doing this, because this is probably going to make sense. First of all, Guten Abend, welcome. That means good evening in German. I'm probably taught you more than Duolingo ever did, just right there. See, I have a big Celtic and Germanic background. And after seeing all the shit that this company has done and the direction they've taken their app, and a lot of the mistakes they have taken to our glorious, glorious ancient language, I have decided, you know what? Fuck you. See, I personally look at the way the AI is handling its language learning, the way the company has been handling itself as a personal attack on our culture. And so I have decided, because it has failed to deliver on its mission of providing free and logical education, that I will make it my personal crusade to let everyone know all of the problems with, again, the company, the app, and the CEO. This is entirely driven out of the fact that I feel insulted by the way that they have handled things, and by the way they have handled my language, and possibly, and more than likely, many others. You see, Duolingo was, at one point, a reliable app people would use to expand their horizons and learn new languages, but now it has become unreliable, completely dysfunctional, and ran by a total fucking man-child. That's right. Today's first topic, we will be talking about Louis von Ahn. You see, Mr. Ahn here is the CEO of this company, if we can even call it that now. It's more like a supercomputer, except without the super. More like, I don't think I can say that word on YouTube. Moving on. You see, Louis here was the fucking genius who decided, let's get rid of all of our employees and replace it with malware and software that hardly works. I mean, it fucking shuts down every other 2 weeks. Can you blame it? I can. If I was the AI, I'd kill myself too. That's a shout out to my first video on this fucking topic. You see, aside from looking like the nerd emoji, Louis here is actually not that smart of a guy. You see, one of the first problems I have with Mr. Louis, or Mr. On, or whatever the fuck you want to call him, I call him Bitchmade. See, let's start off with where it really began. The AI first announcement. As soon as that shit happened, I guarantee you, everybody fucking turned their goodwill into knives and just shoved it straight through this fucker's back. Because let me tell you, see, before this, Duolingo would have its advertisement campaign of using lame-ass memes and then making the most unfunny dog shit I've ever seen since Speed McQueen. And, well, look where that got him. You see, one of the biggest sources of criticism relates to a memo or announcement Mr. On here made declaring Duolingo would be an AI-first company. See, the key issues, of course, is that the memo stated that Duolingo would gradually stop using contractors to do work that AI can handle. What this probably means, based on my personal experiences, and again, I'm gonna get into that later. See, aside from all of that, obviously, it's mostly AI. I mean, look at their fucking Duolingo Max, but that's a topic for later. It also implied that new hiring would only occur if a team member could not automate more of its work. The public interpreted this as meaning Duolingo was about to lay off large numbers of people, automate the product fully, or reduce human oversight. Social media users threatened to cancel accounts, cited losing 1,098 day streaks, etc. Internally, the main concern from employees was overperformance reviews factoring in AI use. See, I wrote this script down, I'm sorry. But basically what I'm saying is, yeah, you know that whole thing where everyone's like, AI is going to replace our jobs and then take over? Well, it's probably not going to take over anytime soon because we're Americans and we have guns, and the people who use AI are fucking stupid, but still, not as smart as a lobotomized glyphid. But basically what happened is all the good people who were working for Duolingo who believed in the mission completely removed. Completely. Now, obviously, I'm not the only one who had problems with this. That's where all this fucking started, before the company became an internet lolcow. Biggest one I've seen since Chris Chan. Can't imagine what Duolingo's gonna do to his mom, if she's even still alive. You see, his response is what pissed me off the most. Well, at the time pissed me off the most. But he later clarified that the company was not planning mass layoffs of full-time staff and that the shift was about accelerating work with AI rather than replacing humans. He admitted he did not have a context in the initial announcement. Now, I can guarantee you this is probably not true. That's a terrible string of words to put side by side, guaranteed and probably. But still, have you used the app? There's no human behind it anymore. It's mostly just slop. It's dog slop. I mean, it's AI slop. What do you want from me? It's like Mr. Beast videos being projected into your brain 24/7 type slop. You know what I mean? Like, fin, that kind of bullshit, or the, I don't know, any brain rot, the Italian one? You know what I'm talking about. See, why this matters is the announcement eroded trust. Users and media felt Duolingo was prioritizing automaton over human content creators, contractors, and maybe even employees. We would later find out this is definitely true because, again, just install the app, you'll see what I'm fucking talking about. It raised fear about job security, content quality, and the human dimension of education, particularly ironic given Duolingo's educational mission, if we can even call it that anymore. You see, from a user experience standpoint, the move sparked concern that the product would become more automated and less human-centered. Now, we're just starting off at the announcement. Half the stuff I wrote down is from the perspective of that time. People had no idea how bad it really was. I mean, they did. They predicted it, and Duolingo said it wasn't going to happen, but here we are. Sorry about that. Now for our second point about Mr. On. That was just the first point. See, criticism about quality, human touch, and business shift. Another line of complaints touches on shifts in Duolingo's business model, product quality perceptions, and other concerns about the human element in learning. Here are some examples I was able to find. Some users feel that Duolingo has shifted from being primarily learning tool to more of an engagement/monetization platform. Slop, or content farming, if we're talking in YouTube sense. See, this is ads, microtransactions, heart gems, etc. For example, ads are incessant. The features and microtransactions in the free mode are designed only to convert paying customers rather than to act as learning tools. Thus, I mean, go on to Duolingo right now. Do a lesson. At the end of it, you're going to get a Duolingo Max or Duolingo Super sort of advertisement made by Duolingo itself. The reason they're making these is because 90% of the companies that used to work with them no longer have advertisements with them because of the company backlash. If you used Duolingo before the AI, you would get ads for things like Temu. Or Temu. Mostly Temu. But you know what I mean. It would be Google-based, but now they have to make their own ads or the occasional Hulu ad, and who the fuck cares about Hulu? Getting ahead of myself. Some language learners argue that the educational value has diminished, or at least the app is better for engagement rather than deep learning. In a Wikipedia summary, the application has received criticism for its impractical vocabulary, insistence on translation prompts, and lack of explanation for incorrect answers. Again, you want proof other than, these testaments? Go try learning Spanish. Please. I would implore you. Or if you're if you don't speak English, try that. I guarantee you'll sound like your average Alabamian, and they don't have any brain cells anyway. Anyways, the AI first pivot raised concerns that content might be generated or scaled via AI, perhaps sacrificing depths of human curation. They would rather move with urgency and take occasional small hits on quality than move slowly and miss that moment. Mr. On's stance is that he maintains the goal to enable humans to do more with the same or slightly more people via AI assistance rather than fewer people. He has emphasized that Duolingo continues to hire and is not replacing its full-time staff. I'd like to remind everyone, this app is dog shit. Look at how it runs, look at how it's made. It's entirely AI slop. Open AI type shit, you know what I mean? And I don't really like OpenAI all that much to begin with, but that's another topic it is kind of related, but you know what, I'm yapping, I'm sorry. Complaint summary. Some users feel Duolingo under their leadership is moving away from education as mission and moving towards scalable product plus monetization. There's a perception of less human touch or less content quality, especially among more serious language learners. The AI scaling rhetoric triggered fears of a drop in quality and authenticity in the learning experience. I really gotta get better footage for these videos, I'm sorry. Anyways, my third point about Mr. On's leadership, if you can call it that, contractor workforce I can't say it. Reductions. Contractor workforce reductions and human impact. I'm sorry. I should have just used 8 simpler words. That's my bad. Related to the above, some criticisms focus on how the AI shift affects contractors, content creators, voice actors, etc., more than full-time employees. Here are some key points. Von On explicitly stated that Duolingo would gradually stop using contractors to do the type of work AI can handle. The company confirmed that minus 10% of contractors were offboarded in a recent period with generative AI cited. Now, again, those ads that Duolingo makes themselves, if you listen to those voices, they're all AI generated. And Duolingo Max, this is a good time to bring it up. Duolingo Max is something that they have been blasting all over their own fucking app. It's dog water. See, what it is you pay some good money to talk to an AI. I stated in my last video, and I'll state it again, I can go on to Character AI, find a smut Luna bot, and have a better German conversation with it. And that's saying something. Because, again, no AI is good AI, but fucking Duolingo AI is about as brain dead can be. So, 90% of those contractors are more than likely gone. I mean, just listen to it. Anyways, while full-time staff layoffs are denied, the contractor reductions are real, and some view this as an undermining fairness of job stability for non-staff workers. The complaint summary follows as this. From a labor ethical perspective, critics say the shift may disproportionately affect low-paid contractors while full-time staff remain protected. They're not very protected. From a public image standpoint, given Duolingo's mission, education, and global access, some feel it is more inconsistent to emphasize cost-cutting via AI rather than investment in people. Now, the thing is about language. Language is a cultural thing. I've stated that at the start of this video. Language is very important. It's as important to us as music is. I mean, music was originally made via voice. So look at Mongolian throat singing, for an example. That's one of my favorite types. I don't remember what his name is, but there's an ambassador here on YouTube, a very good cultural ambassador. I watched his video the other day where he would go to his father's grave and sing a very beautiful song. See, language and music is as part of the soul as anything else that's human. And, of course, following that, if you use AI rather than people, you lose that soul. You lose that consistency, and more importantly, you lose that educational purpose and intellectual property. See, the thing is, Duolingo right now doesn't teach you good grammar. It doesn't teach you good anything, aside from basic language tools, but you hardly know how to use them. Without the human perspective and the human, reinforcement of what AI could have never done. Sorry, I lost my words there for a second. You see, because AI is such a fucking failure, you lose out on that, sort of soul. If you back in the day, before AI was a thing, I was going to try learning Navajo on Duolingo. They have the Navajo Code Talker language. Navajo is a very ancient Native American language. It's very sacred. Very few people know it. And the fact that they had it really went with their mission. But nowadays, if you use it, with the AI and the inconsistency of their mission, that language is more than likely going to be lost to time if it can't even teach German or Spanish right. I mean, think about that. We have so many records for German and Spanish, but for Navajo, we only have so much. And if AI is continued to be used, we will lose that to time. And Native American culture is very sacred as is. They were the first people here, and if we lose that, then, well, I don't know. That's a piece of history we've completely lost. In simplest terms, and all because of human greed. All because of a need to cut other people off. You see, language is very important. And the fact that Duolingo is using AI rather than people goes against its own mission. Sorry, that was kind of a rant there. You see, for users and creators, there's worry that content quality or diversity may slip if fewer human creators are involved. Now, My fourth point against Mr. On here and the direction of Duolingo's company: communication and transparency issues. Sorry if I'm out of breath. I'm trying to do this all in one take. Yeah, it's kind of lazy, but still. So, not really lazy, I just don't have a lot of time. See, some criticisms stem from how the message was communicated, the timing, and the perceived disconnection between intent and perception. Examples include: Von On acknowledged he did not have enough context when the memo caused backlash. Some users point to the disconnect. From Duolingo's early days being fun, human-friendly, community-oriented, to a more business, more algorithmic tone now, e.g., a Reddit user quoted, and I know Reddit's a terrible place to quote, but they did bring up a good point. The new AI-first announcement from CEO Louis Von On marks the end of Duo for me. It's clear that the company is now focused on quantity over quality. Some users report frustration with customer support responsiveness. Examples include: I've been fighting for better support for over a year. Also from a Reddit post. I know, again, these are terrible places to get it from. However, the best way to know about human experience is from other people. And whenever other people make their experiences very well known, myself included, it's kind of important. Human communication, as I said, is more important than relying on a robot. See, complaint summaries. I've made a summary for each of these just so that way, you guys can get the point. I'm not saying you're stupid, but I just want to make sure that the information is clear, transparent, and out there, and as forward as it possibly can be, unlike some companies. You see, while the strategy may be defensible, the communication around it was seen as abrupt, lacking nuance, and triggering anxiety externally. The perceived misalignment between mission and message harmed trust within some longtime users. Poor support and feedback channels amplify user frustration when combined with changes in product or business direction. You see, my fifth point here is education mission versus business pressures. Now again, we've talked about this quite a bit throughout, and now we'll be going into deeper detail on that. This is I said this is about Mr. On himself. I guess it is both him and the Duolingo company, because really, he's the only one there. And he's 2 cells short of being as smart as the average temperature in the North Atlantic Circle. So, I digress. A deeper, more philosophical, a deeper, more philosophical complaint is that under Von On's leadership, some feel Duolingo is drifting away from its mission-centric roots, free, accessible language education, toward being more of a growth monetization machine. Here are some of the points that were raised. The early public narrative for Duolingo emphasized free access, democratizing language learning globally. Some users feel this ethos is less central now, and it's a lot less central the more we drift further and further away from God. The use of AI to scale content rapidly, emphasized by Von On to create a massive amount of content doing what that manually doesn't scale. Users who take language learning seriously argue that the app does well for beginners and engagement, but may fall short for deeper mastery, and they believe the leadership knows this but is prioritizing scale. An example of this also comes from a Redditor. I think I was paying Super Duolingo for the streak rather than the learning. And that's another problem. See, I do understand trying to make it, trying to motivate people with a streak, but it's become more of a central point now that it's an unreliable learning app. And again, it's a clanker company. Anyways, complaint summary. A sense of mission drift. From helping learners access language for free to extracting value, subscriptions, and ads, and scaling rapidly. Some believe the emphasis is now more on retention, monetization, and engagement rather than I really wish I should have. More than depth. I'll just say that. More than depth. This creates a tension. Those using Duolingo casually may be fine, but learners with serious aspirations may feel undeserved. Or if you're like me and you are learning for cultural reasons or wanting to reconnect with your, what language you guys used to speak before you came to America. That's kind of I don't know if that's like a common thing, but that's kind of like the reason me and my friends did it. So, again, kind of just throwing my own input in there. I'm sorry. It's very unprofessional, I know, but I feel like having some kind of connection with you guys is very important. So, in summary about everything I have to complain about Mr. On, is that Louis von On has been lauded for founding and scaling Duolingo, but the leadership and strategic pivots in these recent years have driven complaints on multiple fronts. The AI first shift in its communication triggered backlash among users, contractors, and even externally about job displacement and automation. Quality, human touch, and educational mission concerns have arisen as the company scales and monetizes more heavily. Contractor impacts, perception of mission drift, and communication missteps have all contributed to discomfort among parts of the community. That said, it's also true that Mr. Von On and Duolingo have publicly acknowledged many of those criticisms, clarified that full-time staff layoffs are not planned, and emphasized their belief that AI is a tool to augment and not replace humans. This goes along with the reminder that they have failed to be transparent, they have failed to be honest, and they will do it again. Now that I have talked about the CEO and the company in depth and of course, the backlash that went with the AI first model, I would like to now discuss the app itself, the language learning, and its failure of communication. A lot of these sources come from other people, not just from Reddit, but from several websites. I had to actually do a little bit of translating myself because I wanted to get multiple perspectives from multiple languages, and it's a very consistent thing, unlike the company. You see, we will now be talking, again, about the app, the learning, and everything that goes on within, of course, the service of Duolingo. You see, allow me to elaborate on some of the key issues that I had found, that other people had found, but I am now reporting on. I should have wrote this better, I'm sorry. Our first point is incorrect or awkward translations. In one academic study of Chinese-English course on Duolingo, the authors found that although users gave correct translations in their view, the app often marked them wrong because it only accepted one formulation. Now, Chinese is a very complicated language, and this came from a source that is, again, Chinese. They were learning English. I'd like to say that if you are Chinese and learning English, it is probably just as difficult as someone who is English and learning Chinese. I mean, there's so many of those, I think they're called Hanzi. Is that right? I think that's right. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, please correct me. For example, one user pointed out, sometimes Duo uses a translation into English that makes no sense to me and won't accept a correct substitution, even when that substitution has no material effect. On some review platforms, it says that English translations are often wrong, or they will mark you wrong when you translate a sentence into perfectly good English, but their translation is not a very good English. This is because of the AI replacement, and I know that Duolingo has always had a few problems, but it's gotten a lot worse in these times. So, the common complaint. A translation is fine, but the app rejects it because it doesn't match the expected string, or the translation given by the app is itself unnatural. Again, this is because of the robotic influence on the language itself, and as stated before, the loss of human touch is really hit it negatively. Ugh, God, excuse me. I had some chicken sliders before I came out here. I know this is not important, but if you wonder why I keep doing that, I had some very good chicken sliders, and it's really cold out here. I'm recording this outside, and my God, it ain't mixing well. Anyways, aside from that weird shit, and my next point is that limited learning depth. Focus on gamification over substance. Gamification meaning it's more of a game. I know. That's very complicated. I'm sorry. Some critics say that after initial vocabulary phrase building, progress stalls and true conversational grammatical mastery is elusive. Examples from a user review. After reaching a certain level, you keep doing the same set of exercises over and over again. It's good to reach a certain middle level, but after that you are not learning anything new. Also, the gamified mechanics, such as streaks, XP, and rewards, may draw attention away from deeper learning, and more so focus on the gameplay. If you can even fucking call it that. I mean, they even introduce games into their lessons, so it's more like a, hey, you got any games on your phone, rather than a deep, in-depth sort of language mission. What Duolingo was supposedly founded for. How we have strayed from the path. My third point. is that user experience and app design changes and AI shift concerns. Many users find that the newer updates, the interfaces become more clustered, less intuitive, and more focused on monetization or engagement mechanics rather than pure learning. When the shift to an AI-first strategy by the company, users have expressed concerns that content quality is being compromised for scale, as I stated before. Here is one of those quotes. Decreased content quality. With AI-generated exercises, users reported awkward sentence structures and odd translations that did not meet the language standards, as of course languages have very complex structures, it changes. A good example of this, I'm going to teach you guys something. You see, a good example of this is that the way you look at time. Each culture has a different way of looking at time. See, the Nords looked at it like a string or a weave. It's actually kind of ironic they have a god, well, a group of goddesses, that weave the fates. You see, the important part is where it meets, which is, of course, the weave, and then the thing that binds it all together, the warp. It moves in a left to right sort of sense. While in some other cultures, like I believe some in Africa, I might be wrong about that location, they look at it from back to start. So like while we go start to back, they go back to start, as they see it as a returning to from whence they came. It's part of their religion or culture. While some Asian cultures believe that it is from top to bottom, that we move down the path of everything like water. That's why water is very important in a lot of like Taoism, Confucianism, Shinto especially because Japan is a very waterlogged obviously it's a waterlogged country, but because the fishing and the water itself played a very big role in its society. And so for that reason, when you have odd translations and structures that doesn't match the structure of the language you're learning, I'm sorry if I'm stuttering here, then it won't line up. For example, you're learning an Asian culture that focuses from top to bottom. Let's think of it like that. And you're learning from bottom to top. You are starting with the end result without the beginning. That is the key of the problem. Sorry, not the key, the root of the problem. Which is ironic because, again, if you're learning some kind of Asian language and you're starting from bottom to top, then it is quite literally the root of the problem. If you guys hear that, I didn't really address it at the start of the video. I have a heater out here. It's like 20 degrees. I really do provide the best content for y'all in the best temperatures. I'm sorry, I love the cold. Anyways, random shit aside. Some users on Reddit, again, terrible place, I know. The latest update is dreadful. Suddenly I'm getting AI lessons that don't make any sense. There's also frustration with how the app restricts free users. For example, energy and heart systems, which many feel is pushing toward paying subscriptions rather than focusing on teaching. Inconsistency across courses and fewer human-reviewed contributions have led to more problems such as this. Because of the many languages offered, the quality of less common courses or updates tends to vary more. Some alternative translations are never accepted, even if correct. Again, if you're in one of those smaller languages, especially Navajo, and it's got this sort of system, I don't know if you can really trust what you're learning. Especially when it fucks up things like Chinese, or English even. The guy who made this speaks pretty good English. I don't know if that's his first language, but I'm pretty sure it is. I might be wrong on that. But still, he speaks it very well. With the reduction of community forums where learners would ask about sentence translations or grammar, the ability to rectify mistakes or get nuance is diminished. So why does this happen? You see, language learning at scale is hard. Linguistic nuance, multiple acceptable translations in cultural contexts, these are examples to automate. For example, the academic study notes that Duolingo's translation model sometimes uses word-by-word technique and rejects perfectly valid alternatives. A good example of this is that you can put the word fuck into every sentence in any sentence at any point in a sentence. For example, let's say, the dog went for a walk. The fucking dog went for a walk. Fuck, the dog went for a walk. The dog fucking went for a walk. The dog went for a fucking walk. The dog went for a walk. Fuck. That sort of thing. Those are all correct. But if you put fuck into Duolingo, it'll probably kick you, let's be honest. Okay, the shift towards AI, and the company has admitted that they're willing to accept occasional small quality hits in favor of faster rollout to scale. This is a horrible choice because we are seeing the negative consequences of it in real time. And so is the company. The company has taken many hits. Don't get me started on that bullshit anime. That was made by the fucking people who made Big Mouth. First of all, I don't really like Big Mouth. And second of all, it was the most boring show I've ever seen. It was worse than Walking Dead Season 13. And that's saying something. That's saying something. Again, gamification versus learning depth. The app's design heavily emphasizes on daily habits, rewards, engagement, which can benefit beginner learners, but may detract from depth or intermediate or advanced learners. When I wrote this, I wanted to be as professional as possible, so that's, yeah. Diversity of courses. Some language courses may have less human oversight or fewer native-speaking contributors, making inconsistencies more likely. Navajo, again, is a great example. Until they get it fixed, which they probably never will, or if they ever remove AI, which is, again, very unlikely, companies these days focus on late-stage capitalism more so on quality and, their mission. So we might not ever see that. But let's say they did, then I would consider learning Navajo. And I really want to. I really do. But I wanted to start with German and then kind of work my way over a little bit, but that's aside from the point. See, product and business tension. Users feel that the app is becoming more about monetization and engagement and less about deep learning, which some argue leads to shortcuts, less human-reviewed content, or more AI-generated items. Some state that as time goes on, AI is becoming more and more common as the app continues. So what should you keep in mind if you use Duolingo? Use Duolingo as a one tool among many. It can be good for habit formation, vocabulary building, and getting started, but for deeper mastery, you will likely need grammar sources, conversation practice, and intermission. Oh, excuse me. I can't believe I did that on a recording. I'm sorry about that. Be aware that the app, just like other maps, marks you wrong doesn't mean you always... Fuck, I messed that up. Be aware that just because the app marks you wrong doesn't always mean your answer is wrong. It may be an expected answer that differs. When you get an odd or unnatural translation, check in a separate dictionary, ask a native speaker, or consult other sources. If you're an intermediate or advanced learner, some may use Duolingo's depth lacking. Consider supplementing or switching when you hit that plateau. Monitor updates and how the UX is changing. Things like energy systems, subscription pushes, interface changes can change your experience if you cost or benefit ratio. I believe there's a lot more to Duolingo, and I believe that there are many more problems. But I believe that is the most important of all the problems that I have, outlined for you all. See, before I go, I'd like to leave this final message. You see, I believe that culture and language are intertwined. As we move from the top, we must one day reach the bottom, and that is the flow of time, as we are water. We are not permanent. But some flows can be changed if they lead to negative routes. For that reason, I believe that Duolingo has made countless mistakes, and I do not respect them in the slightest. However, all cultures believe that reflection, contemplation, and transition are very key aspects of what it means to be human. If these people are willing to go back and change the mistakes that they made, remove their AI and return to their roots as an educational mission, rather than gamification and monetization, I would forgive them. But we wouldn't forget them and what they had done. But still, if they are willing to improve, then why would we stop them? And so before I go, I wrote out this message for you all. I believe Duolingo should revert its AI-first approach and return to normalcy. Its failure to provide high-quality content or reliable learning has caused damage to its user base, and I, myself, believes it undermines the quality and culture that goes behind languages and linguistics. I believe it should return to what it was and focus more on its mission, rather than monetization, and that continuing down this path will cause more harm than good. It is stated that all things in this world should not rush, for nature doesn't hurry, yet everything is accomplished. I've been Toll Warden, and thank you for listening to me.